Malaysia juga menghadapi cabaran yang agak getir. Kadar pengangguran di Malaysia adalah di paras 3.9%.
So, isu yang tak settle-settle di Malaysia lagi adalah pengangguran.
Pengangguran meningkat kepada 5.0% pada bulan April 2020.
Mustahil ke kalau kita nak lahirkan usahawan sebenar melalui pendidikan tinggi?
Kalau kita tengok artikel tentang situasi di Malaysia, ada 200,000 graduan yang tak ada kerja.
Disebabkan teknologi yang berubah, perubahan ekonomi, perubahan pemikiran generasi baru, education yang dulu tu mungkin tidak lagi bersesuaian.
Dan mengikut anjuran Jabatan Perangkaan Malaysia, pada 14 Mei 2020, kadar pengangguran dijangka akan meningkat.
A marriage, perkahwinan antara traditional learning and kemahiran. Welcome to the revolution.
Fantastic Friday, friends. Happy morning. Morning, Mizan. Morning, Hamida. Hey, good to see you guys again. Well, today we're going to talk about positive anchoring. Right, so now, what is this positive anchoring all about? It's what we want other people to remember us as. Because ultimately, you guys out there are going to be entrepreneurs. You guys out there are going to be successful leaders in the future. It's all about being able to create the positivity whenever people think about you. So let's say, for example, if you're going to think of a person, it's somebody that, let's say we talk about our leaders. I will talk about maybe, let's say, our dear president. When you think of them, what do you feel? That's what we call by positive anchoring. Let's say, after you have seen me for 44 days and all this time that we have been together, whenever you think of Adrian Choong, what comes to your mind? That's what's the anchoring that we want to talk about. Anchoring, just let me explain to you, is basically a stimulus and response that we have actually covered. So basically, if you look at my face and what response you get, that's an anchoring. We can be anchored using words, we can be anchored using smell, we can be anchored using touch, we can be anchored using what we see. All right, so all these senses actually creates feelings for people. And basically now what we want to do is, how are you going to anchor the people that you whoever that you actually meet? That means basically, like, give you for example, because now it's all on Facebook Live. Normally, if I were to conduct a workshop and training, my anchor to a lot of people is that this is that doctor that comes in a leather jacket and torn jeans. Now, mind you, I'm serious about this. I will walk into a corporate office to conduct a workshop, but people never know that I was the trainer. Because why? I come in torn jeans and a leather jacket. People will be looking at me. Who are you? Are you the assistant? I said, no, I'm the trainer. So basically, what happens is that I do that so often that whenever people see a person that's wearing a leather jacket, automatically they trigger them to think about me. It's like I actually went to a corporate workshop once. They cannot even remember my name. They basically wrote to my company, said, can we have that speaker again? I said, which speaker do you want? They were writing to me through email, right? So then they said, oh, we want the guy with the leather jacket. I said, okay, that's good. So this is what we call by the anchoring that we want. And the other thing that you want to anchor people with is the positive vibes. Now, How do we do this? Now, this one, I'm going to slow down a little bit to talk about how do you get a person to always think about you and have a positive vibe. It's very simple. It's your state and emotions that you actually generate and project to the other person, right? Your state and emotion that you're going to project to the other person. Now, how are you going to project it to the person unless you be able to access the states and emotion? Do you follow what I'm saying? What do you mean by access? Let's say if I'm going to come in this morning and feel stressed, example. Morning, Sophie. If I feel stress, and automatically you will see a stressed guy talking to you. And automatically whenever you see me, you feel stressed. You know what I'm saying? So in order for me to connect with you, I need to feel first access love, care, joy, happiness. And then whenever I talk to you, you will feel that emotions as well. So that is one thing that we always need to know. Next round, I see you. I'm going to share with you how do you access these emotions. But today I'm going to talk about what influences the other person's mind first, right? The other thing that we do is actually body language. How do you use your hands? You notice that I use my hands a lot. One of this, I'm going to share with you basically how do you use your hands to unconsciously hypnotize the other person. Now, how do you unconsciously hypnotize the other person? Give you a very simple example. If you're going to do business next time, and if you're doing face-to-face or key account management like me, is that you will generally be thrown this question: why should I buy from you and not your competitor? It's why you should buy from you and not your competitor. And for me, it's within my own integrity. You want, okay, personal branding, I'll cover that. It's my own integrity not to basically condemn your competitor. Am I correct to say that? Because it's not right. And sometimes whenever the clients throw you questions like that, they are basically testing you. See whether this person is going to condemn the other person or not. So I will never, ever say bad things about other people. But what I normally do is that, as you notice, whenever I say other people, I have one hand gestures like this. Now, then what happens is that then we'll talk about the pandemic. We'll talk about the economy. Each time I use the same hand gesture, I will talk about the competitor, pandemic, things are bad. Whenever you talk about care, love, joy, peace, I do another hand gesture that's always coming to me. So basically what we're trying to do is to use your hands to imprint something that's bad, this is the competitor. Something that's bad, this is the competitor. So you do the same thing. And then when it's good, it's always about you. So this is basically how do you anchor the person to that you're talking to know that you are the good, competitor is the bad, right? So that's what it is. To answer your question, Hamida, is how to create personal branding. Now, personal branding is very unique. That means you need to remember the first session that we do. The first session that we did is about identifying who are you. So if you can create that person, let's say when I first started off as a speaker, 10 years, more than 10 years, I started off as a speaker 18 years ago. But it was only about 10 years ago when my wife actually came to me and said, hey, I don't like the fact that you always go out with your coat and tie. It looks boring. I said, which is true. At first I said, no, corporate will not allow me to do this. You know, corporate will say you must wear coat and tie. She said, no, trust me, do something different. So that's when I said, okay, who do I want to be? Who am I? Am I going to be a motivational speaker? Am I going to be a speaker that imprints in people's mind? People can actually remember me. So I created that identity, and then straight away I went from, if this type of identity, what type of branding do I want? What do I have to wear? Where do I have to go? What phones do I even use? At that point in time, of course, you still have your iPhone and your BlackBerry and all that. We actually choose every single clothes that we wear. Even the brand also plays a role, because let's face it, everything is a telltale sign, whether we like it or not. So unless you control your brand, people will always brand you. All right. So this is one thing that you all need to understand. It's if you want to create a positive impact on the other person, number one, I always believe is you need to be very genuine and authentic. That means you must truly believe in whatever that you do. And the other thing is don't fake it. All right. What I mean by faking it is don't pretend to like people. You need to genuinely like people. And you genuinely care about people. People will know your authenticity. People will connect with you. Because most of the time, what I feel that people cannot connect with each other or build effective rapport is because whenever they are dealing with a person, they are only focusing on what they want to receive and not what they want to give to the other person. And I think that's very, very important because ultimately we're in the people business, although we are using technology, but the thing is we are still connecting with people. If people always see you as a taker, not a giver, then what's going to happen is the person cannot building lasting relationship with you. And the other thing is always whenever we're in your people, always learn how to listen, because Stephen Covey always said, most people in the world do not listen to understand. They are only listening to wait to respond to what they want to say. You have no confidence with people, Sophie? Don't worry. Along the ways, let's put it this way. We will meet people who are not going to be nice to us, but ultimately, I always put it this way. If there's 100 people in this world, one fella is not good, one fella betray our trust, do we want to allow that one person to make our life miserable? Trust me, I've been betrayed before by the closest friends of mine who I worked with for years, but ultimately, if we don't trust people, is sometimes, and not forgiving people is like drinking poison to yourself, hoping the other person will die. Right? So to me, ultimately, I rather choose to believe that people are good than to say that there's something that I should be suspicious of. Then life will become much easier. And what you realize is that when the shoulder burdens are off you, you can connect with people more. Because one of the sessions that we're going to come up next is talking about body language, where I will share with you whatever happens in the inside of a person is reflected on your body. How people move their hands, where people put their hand gestures, which part of your body is painful, or everything is a telltale sign as to some psychological challenges that we are facing. So that's all for today, folks. Let's hope to see you soon again. I'll cover more and more. We're going to cover more anchoring. The next session will be all about anchoring, how to access the positive states and emotions, and then we would actually move on from there. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Fantastic Friday once again. Goodbye.
Malaysia juga menghadapi cabaran yang agak getir. Kadar pengangguran di Malaysia adalah di paras 3.9%.
So isu yang tak settle di Malaysia lagi adalah
Pengangguran meningkat kepada 5.0% pada bulan April 2020.
Mustahil ke kalau kita nak lahirkan usahawan sebenar melalui pendidikan tinggi?
Kalau kita tengok artikel tentang situasi di Malaysia, ada 200,000 graduan yang tak ada kerja.
Disebabkan teknologi yang berubah, perubahan ekonomi, perubahan pemikiran generasi baru, education yang dulu tu mungkin tidak lagi bersesuaian.
Dan mengikut anjuran Jabatan Perangkaan Malaysia pada 14 Mei 2020, kadar pengangguran dijangka akan meningkat.
marriage perkawinan antara traditional learning and kemahiran. Welcome to the revolution.